Welcome to the Inside Silverstone podcast, a business-focused podcast covering all things tech, engineering and innovation. Hosted by me, Chris Broome, a huge tech, motorsport and gaming fan, and also the owner of Longhurst, a firm of lifestyle financial planners and independent financial advisors located in Silverstone, Northamptonshire. This is a series of unscripted and unpolished conversations with leading business owners, thought leaders and high-tech talent where we discuss their experiences within the Silverstone business and motorsport region. We will also be asking them to share their knowledge, insight and their thoughts on the future just for you. If you're looking to learn more about the Silverstone high growth region and commercially connect with like-minded peers, you've definitely come to the right place. Welcome to Inside Silverstone. Welcome to the next edition of Inside Silverstone. My name is Chris Broome and I am your host. Today I am delighted to welcome to the show a new friend, Thomas Cliffe from Track. Tom, welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you very much for having us.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Look, I saw to give a bit of premise and a bit of background to our listeners and everyone watching this on YouTube. I saw Track on social media about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And it touched something for me simply because it has a connection to my family in relation to the narrative behind what you're doing. And I wanted to get you on to give you guys some airtime and to promote the phenomenal work you're doing in the region. And the reason for that, and I'll read this off the website because it's easier for me to read your dialogue, is Track supports autistic people to access employment through training, support services, and creating opportunities. In a nutshell. So you guys are supporting those within our community. So this is Northamptonshire, South Northamptonshire, North Northamptonshire, wherever it is, in the NN postcode, presumably. You are helping people with autism and find work, basically, and give them development and training and hopefully opportunities to prosper like the rest of us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of one of those things that it's a national issue. There's only 16% of autistic adults are in full-time employment.
That's mad. Just to focus on that. That's just mad. 16%.
And it's a crazy figure. And there's lots of different research, which it might be slightly higher. It might be swayed by people disclosing. But for me, the fact that it's nowhere near 100, what I saw was a range of really talented individuals across a complete spectrum of industries who really wanted to work, who can add value to a business. And what we're all about is we don't do this because it's a nice thing to do. It's because it adds value to a business. And there's a clear business tone to it that I think people are sometimes reluctant to say, but actually we think the people that we work with make great employees, whether it's the attention to detail, the creativity, the reliability, the persistence. I could talk all day about skills and why people should get involved. But I think part of it is exactly, what you're helping us do today is making people aware and starting the conversation, because it can be a subject. I think disability is a subject some people struggle to talk about, but we want to work against that really and just get the conversation started and see where it takes us.
I think, as I said, I think it's phenomenal. And just to provide a bit of sort of context to my situation, so my eldest brother, who's now 51, has autism, has Asperger's, is deemed vulnerable by the state, and he really wants to work. He has the same work ethic as his two younger brothers, myself and my other brother David. Really, all of us hardworking. That's been installed by our father and our mother. He really, really wants to work, but he struggles. He will find work, sometimes get bullied, and then things with COVID, etc., etc. And then he'll be applying. He won't get opportunities. He won't get any type of responses to CVs being sent in. It's a struggle, and I have that as a younger brother trying to support him. So one of my first questions to you was, and this is a great question, is why? Why are you personally doing this, and what's sort of your background to get
I spent 10 years working in education. I love the premise of learning. I love the premises of trying to better yourself. And what I saw towards the end of that career was I started working with autistic individuals who, like I say, had so many talents, but just faced a few barriers to get into employment. And for me, it was kind of, well, actually, let's remove the barriers. Let's take away the focus of trying to train people to be someone they're not, which is entirely what we don't do. We try and support businesses to make really small environmental changes. So that could be everything from letting people have the interview questions in advance, giving people their own workstation. And these are things which people might think, well, that's not a massive deal. And it's not. that's how simple it can be to make your workplace more accepting. And this is what it comes down to, that we accept people as individuals. And whilst our passion is supporting autistic individuals, actually these changes that we've supported businesses to make, they benefit everyone in the workplace because it's treating someone as an individual.
Yeah.
If someone says, I really don't like loud noises, they might be neurotypical, they might be neurodiverse, but let's try and help them avoid loud noises then, because that's going to make them work better. And this is the bit that for us, it's been such small changes. And again, like you say, some of the challenges that people face, it's sometimes getting into work, it's then sustaining it. But actually, there's a kind of model that we do which is designed to keep people in employment. We're living in unprecedented, I've not heard it 10 times today, so I better use it.
Yeah.
We are living in unprecedented times, and there are changes. But actually, in some ways, I'll describe myself as someone who tries to be positive. Actually, there's a chance for us to rethink things, because what we've all experienced over the last few months is what do we mean by normal, and what are the unwritten rules of the workplace? A little while ago, you might have walked into somewhere and not been entirely sure where to sit, or can you have that particular coffee cup because that might offend somebody. Now it's about, do I wave at the end of a Zoom call? Do I mute myself? How politely at the start of a conversation do you tell everyone, look, mute yourselves now because I don't want to hear any more from you? And you know what, actually, when we've got that kind of those rules in place, it helps everyone. And I think we all feel a bit more kind of certain around it. But yeah, I think from our point of view, it's I could talk to you all day. I know we've not got all day, but it really is a kind of, it's a good business decision is the best thing I can say about it, because you're getting individuals, and we've seen that now from retail work, logistics, graphic designers, coders, cybersecurity. This isn't kind of a skill set that's limited to one person. Microsoft have their own recruitment stream now for autistic individuals.
Well, the reason why the likes of Microsoft are going to be doing that is clearly because of the way that our brains function, and clearly for those with autism, that they're, I know from my brother, if you sit there and put them on mastermind over World War I or World War II, his ability to retain information on that will wipe the floor with all of us. And I did history at uni, and so if you can literally focus that on another area, it's from a business perspective, a commercial perspective, gold dust.
Absolutely, and I think that's it. It's a different perspective. It's a different way of processing information, and actually, people now might come out of university and there's a skill set you're taught and the skills you develop, but actually what people want isn't the problem, it's the solution to the problem after that. And that's the bit where people, if you can create an environment that people feel they can thrive and can actually go on to be sort of successful in that environment, then your business is going to benefit. And when the biggest companies in the world are doing it, it's clear that actually, like you say, we started in Northampton, we're now working with businesses in Milton Keynes as well. And it's making sure that we sort of lead the way in having this diverse workforce.
So let's talk about employers, and then I want to talk about actually the people that you're supporting in the community, the individuals. So from an employer's perspective, so I'm a business, Longhurst is an organisation. So let's say that we were exploring and we were interested in this from a number of aspects, including ensuring our existing workforce and the place that and the environment that we've created is the right type of environment, but also that we could potentially consider bringing in those that you're supporting. How would you help us? What's the process you take us through? What are the services that you deliver?
So I think that initial conversation, you've come up with the idea that actually it's something you want to look into. It's an area of interest to you. And what we kind of pride ourselves on is tailoring it to your individual needs, because I think there's a lot of people that would come and give you a 2-hour training session on autism. And actually you'd come away having learned some facts and figures, but what does it mean for you in your business? So the training we might give to, let's say, Wincanton at Sainsbury's in a warehouse setting is going to be very different to a fast food outlet, because actually the challenges or barriers that people might face are going to be very, very different. And that's the bit for us. It's about finding out about your business and actually where we can best utilize the skills of individuals we've already got, or to put those adverts out there and actually make sure that, when you put a job advert out, and I'll make everyone go and check this at the end of this chat, I bet your job advert says excellent communication skills somewhere on it, right? What does it actually mean? And it can put a lot of autistic individuals off, because they'll have all the skill set in the world to do what you ask, but they'll then go, well, I'm not actually an excellent communicator. And that can be enough to put people off. So it's everything from policy and documentation, which are important, but we're very much a sort of in practice person. Let's sort of practice what we preach. It's training for senior leaders and colleagues of being aware of best how to support people. Workplace audits, come in and look and just see what environmental changes could you make quite quickly to make things more accessible. And one of the questions we'll always ask you is why? And if you can justify something, then actually that's fine. You know, you have to wear steel toe cap boots in an industrial setting because it's set out in the law. That's fine. But if there's other things that happen and your answer is only, well, it's just the way we do things around here, then it's a kind of question of, well, we can adapt that then, because that can meet someone's needs. And like I say, hot desking in offices has really put some of the individuals we've got into work off, because it's the idea of going in and not even knowing where your desk is going to be for that day, because you could move.
Yes, it's about routine, right? So it's about, you start mucking up people's routines. I'm you know, I don't have autism, but even I like my routines, right? And so you say, so why would it be any different for anyone else?
Absolutely. And it's sometimes, you know, employers will change things because they'll be worried that somebody might be bored, or they, you know, might be getting complacent. Actually, you know, one of the reasons that I love working with autistic individuals, and again, I've not met all of them yet, you know, one person at a time, but actually that fact that we can just have an open and honest conversation, you know, and if I ask a question, I'm going to get a very honest answer. And I love that. And it does take a little bit of time, because as a neurotypical individual, I've sort of got used to, you know, if you say to people, "Have you had a good day?" the answer will be, "Oh yeah, it's been okay." When actually what they really want to say is, "No, it's been horrendous. I've not been able to go out. I've lost 3 clients. I've done this." But we're almost trained to come out with what is effectively a lie. And this was a question I raised with a big fast food chain when I said, you know, do you ask people in their first job why they want to work for you? And they said, yeah, that's always a question. I said, well, the honest answer is discounted food and money. Or the generic answer is, I've always dreamt of being a team player in a multinational business and developing my problem skill, you know, and actually, what is it we're learning from these things? And that's the bit for me that when you start to have these conversations with people, you know, it's a stupid neurotypical saying, but that light bulb moment when people go, actually, yeah, why are we doing that? You know, why are we having a 2-hour interview for a job which people need physical skills? Why not show them round, show them the workplace? You know, we've gone out and prepared workplace guides for some really big companies. And that's brilliant, because you can see what it's like. You know, back in the day, you know, January 2020, when we were allowed to go and visit places, if I was going somewhere, I'd be on Google Maps, I'd be street viewing, I'd be trying to see, just so it just helps me from an anxiety point of view, know where I'm going. Well, why don't we have that for work? And it's those bits that it's simple tech really in many ways. You know, go in with a camera phone. Here's what it looks like at reception. Here's where you go in. You know, we've all been to buildings where you can't find the reception button, and then you panic and you get into a meeting late. You don't perform at your best. And I think what we're all about is making people question, you know, how can you allow every individual in your business to thrive? And that's what kind of keeps us going. And like I say, everything from training through to workplace audits, and mentoring support, and being able to ask questions. You know, for people who are in work, we provide sort of either weekly or fortnightly mentoring. Sometimes that's just a checkup on, this has happened at work. I didn't want to ask my supervisor because I didn't want to look stupid. And we'll be able to say, well, what they mean by this is, you know, the example we give, somebody had been told that the employer was playing things by the book. So a particular individual rang me up and said, which book are they talking about? And I was like, look, I'm with you 100%. It doesn't make, why they didn't just say we're following a set of legislation that we have to. But they were on the verge of then losing a great employee. And that's where the problems can occur sometimes, because
just because of a turn of phrase.
Absolutely. And the thing is, that is so important to the individuals that we work with, and recognizing that actually, you know, some of these people have degrees, some of them have, like you say, exquisite knowledge maybe, or retention, whatever these skill sets might be. It's a case of, rather than going, oh, you find that difficult, it's like, let's focus on what you're really, really good at. And then the bits around it where we can make it small changes. And again, I think companies worry that I'm going to come in and ask them to start tearing down walls or building new light bulbs everywhere and things. It's not always the case. You know, it can just be sometimes, let's raise some awareness for colleagues that actually Steve, who works in the corner, won't engage in small talk. He's here to work. He wants to work. He's not being rude. You know, he just wants to come in and get on with his job. And actually, if you ask them if you watched something on TV last night, you'll get a yes or no answer, and that will be it. And that's the way he is. Let's not try and encourage him to change his behaviour. Let's all be aware of it and go, actually, okay, that's fine. You know, some autistic people will use stimming to control their anxiety. So that could be a repetitive motion or a rocking. Now, actually, that's something which is helping them. But if colleagues next door don't know what's happening, they might then question, perhaps they're upset and they're going to go over and make things worse. Whereas actually it's okay. That's his way of controlling it. He'll come to us when he's ready. And, you know, if he needs help, he'll ask for help.
We've all got our coping mechanisms, right? So there'll be some people that'll go and get a coffee. Someone will have a cigarette. Some will go running. Some will have a bitch and a moan. Yeah. So.
And I think this is where, when you look at, you know, one of the opportunities that I've suggested, that actually for some autistic people, the major barrier is the journey to and from work. So working from home actually allows them, it takes away all of those things, but we've also then got to manage people's overall well-being. You know, autism isn't a mental health condition. I think people sometimes get that mixed up. Autism is not a learning difficulty. It's not a mental health challenge. An autistic person could have a learning difficulty and a mental health condition, challenge, whichever words you want to use. But we've got to look after people's well-being, because what we're missing at the minute is that little bit of interaction in the morning that some people might need. You know, at the end of a call, it'll ask you about the quality of the call, but it doesn't ask you how you're feeling. And that's a bit that for me, I think is important to bear in mind, and making sure that any good business owner will know their staff well and know who needs a hug, who needs a gentle push, and who needs a telling off every now and again to get the best out of them. But that's understanding individuals. And, you know, I think sometimes people see the figures and think, well, 16%, you know, there must be a reason behind it. Actually, it's just the barriers we've created. And, you know, we've got to create environments where someone feels comfortable to walk in and say to their employer, I'm autistic. You know, if they want to. Nobody has to, but if they want to disclose, they should feel 100% comfortable. And we're not there yet. We're a long way from that. But what we're trying to do, business by business across Northampton, Milton Keynes, is to build that confidence for individuals, that if someone comes to them and says that, they also know where they can come and get support locally. That will be focused around supporting the business and the individual. Because I think you know, previously people might Google autism and it will come up with national organisations, which again have a key role to play. But I like to think what we offer is that sort of personalised service, and we know the area well, and we know that where the opportunities are for work at the moment. Even in these kind of difficult times, there's still job opportunities out there.
Love it. No, love it. Fantastic. And so, you know, just, you've got a really good website, really, really informative. So, you know, what ways that you'll support businesses are, you know, there's a list here. So you've got e-learning course, you've got training, bespoke training. There are guides for employers, which presumably they can contact you around, download these. Support services. So yeah, a variety of those presumably. So, you know, ahead of time, but also, you know, if you are then employing anybody with autism and you have a question as an employee, you can obviously come confidentially, have a conversation with you about how to handle a certain situation or provide additional support to them, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's quite difficult on the website in some ways, because I think people want a one-size-fits-all solution, and that's really what we're not, because it depends on the individual, it depends on your business. But again, that kind of knowledge behind it is there, and the process that we have will adapt to make sure it works for you, because it's, you know, that the e-learning unit's a great introduction, and we did that with Spokes Education, a kind of local company in Northampton, and it's a great sort of 10-15 minute, let's get some background information, let's get some statistics, let's see where we're coming from, with it then very much sort of, right, actually, you know, how do I make my interview more accepting? Because there'll be questions, and people will sit and cringe once you've done the training with them, where they go, just ask someone what their strengths are. What does that actually mean? And you know, how could I reword that to give that person, you know, what relevance is that question to the job? And they're the bits that we really enjoyed doing. And it's not us coming in and saying you've been doing it wrong. It's like, how can we make this better for you, but also society as a whole, really, because we're all going to benefit. You know, the latest count, I think we've got 33 people into work so far, all of whom were unemployed, but wanted to work. So, you know, these were a lost talent set in a way, and what we really want to do is help businesses access that.
Talk to us about Cafe Track.
So, from a business point of view, we're supporting them. But what we also recognised was that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to develop employability skills. They've gone to school, may have gone to college, university, that route, but actually when it comes to what experience have you got, they don't have that ability to have gained that experience for whatever reasons. You know, to ask some of the people we work with in school, right, for 1 week you're going to go and work away somewhere completely different, probably wasn't successful for them because it wasn't managed in the right way. But actually what we do in the cafe is we have people in on a variety of placements. So our team members in there are developing their skills with a view to us getting a better understanding of where they want to go to next. So we're not trying to train people to make tea and coffee, but what we are getting people used to is communication, working out where their strengths are so that we can then pass it on to employers. So we know, for example, one of the people who came in, he worked much better with written instructions, and that was where other placements were falling down because they'd go in and just kind of talk to him. They wouldn't actually break down the instructions for him. So when he's now moved on, we've said to the next employer, we'll come in, see the job he's going to do, give him the list, and he'll just do it time and time again. He's really happy. So it's the staff side of it in the cafe is about that. It's that opportunity to develop skills. From a customer perspective, it's modelling what we don't have background music on because for some people that can be really off-putting. We try and be very much a kind of community space for people to come in. We have a variety of different groups that meet. We've only got 16 seats inside during a good year, which is obviously significantly less with social distancing. But the whole point of it was as well is it gives us a bit more of a profile. People will talk about having a nice coffee and a cake in a shop and then go away and hope to say, I learned a little bit about autism today, and they'll go out. And I think that's the bit that I really enjoy. And Sharon's our cafe manager, and she does a great job because she'll encourage the people in there as to when they're ready to start developing new skills. But for some people, you know, customers, they might not go anywhere else. We might be the only place they come to. And it's brilliant to be able to say, would you like a chat today or not? And when they say no, we don't take offence, we leave them to it. And when they say yes, we'll have that conversation. So yeah, the cafe in the market square, we're currently closed, which is another challenge, but we're looking at different ways of sort of raising funds, and it's enabled us to set up another partnership now in Milton Keynes with the National Museum of Computing, and we're getting people back in now, developing skills. We just can't open up and sell our coffee just yet, but we'll be back
soon. Fingers crossed, very soon. And talk to us about your award nomination.
Yeah, so it's one of these things I challenge with it again, because I think if you were asking me, I struggle to big myself up. I'd struggle in an interview because, you know, tell me all about yourself. It's like, well, I'll do all right. I'll try my best. And we've kind of, you know, coming into the business world from a teaching background, it was interesting. There's so many various different awards. And then obviously we've got the Northamptonshire Business Excellence Award that we were nominated for recently. The cafe was...
Which one? Because I'll see you there, because we've been nominated as well. So what are you there for?
So it's the Community Business or Project of the Year. So that was fantastic, and someone's put us forward for that, which was really pleasing. The cafe's a shortlisted finalist in the National Diversity Awards. So we were due to be up in Liverpool last weekend, but that's obviously been put back. And again, these things, they're nice, but for me, the best thing is they just create more awareness. It might be 3 more conversations that we start now, and someone hears the word autism and goes, right, actually, yeah, we need to think about this, and that's the bit that's lovely. And you know, I think the whole Northampton business community has been fantastic, and you know, Ben and the team at All Things Business and what they're doing to promote, and that positive message that they've stuck with throughout this whole mess has been, you know, a lifesaver for many, because it's easy and it's okay to have bad days. We've all had bad days, but you know, I think to have those things to look forward to now is nice, and hopefully we'll be allowed to go to them soon.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, well, I'll get an opportunity to meet you there in person as well. So
absolutely, I might struggle for a while with in-person, you know, actual person communication, because it's going to be strange.
With another human, but clearly with our masks on. And talk to us about the adults themselves. And so, you know, let's say I'm at home and I'm a parent, or otherwise, and I've got a child, or myself, I'm listening to this and I think actually this could be for me. What do they do next? How do they get in contact with you, and how do you help them?
So, you know, from that point of view, first point of contact, depending on your preferred communication method, is to send us an email or give us a phone call. we actively encourage people to bring people with them. We're not, I think that's, again, if people want a small change they can make to the recruitment, invite people to bring people along with them. It's not a weakness, the fact that on your first day, and sometimes people might think, I don't really want to take a parent along with me, might be someone in the 30s or 40s, but actually we'll encourage them to come along. What we normally have done is met in somewhere where they found was a safe space. The cafe was fantastic for that, because we can invite people in perhaps after we've closed, come in, have a chat, have a look around. And then it's a case of deciding pathways, really. For some people, it's very much about just reducing social isolation. So maybe come along to one of the groups at the cafe to start with, pop in, come and see us. Maybe next time your parent, whoever's with you, might go for a walk and leave you in the cafe for a short, just small steps. And, some people will come in and just literally want a little bit of help on a CV, and we'll do that, and then try and contact employers on their behalf if they want us to. Others will go through the cafe route, which is, it could be anywhere between kind of 4 weeks to 12 weeks. And again, placements are everything from half an hour a week up to 7 or 8 hours a week. It's finding out what an individual wants to do. And, people might think this is kind of a strange way of looking at recruitment, but for me, it makes sense. For some people, if their biggest barrier to work is they can only work on a business which is on the X5 bus route, that makes it easy for me, because I go and sit on the X5 between where they live and just see what businesses are either side of the road near the stops, because that gives me an idea. We'll then look at types of environment. Do you want to be quite customer facing, or do you want to be back of house, warehouse? What are the options available to you? How long do you want to work? And then we'll try and support that person through that process as much as we can. We have to be really honest, and this isn't this for me is practicing what we preach. We cannot promise everyone a job. And I think some people come and go, we haven't got me a job yet. And it's like, well, no, I haven't yet. I haven't been able to find the right position. But what we do know is we can create opportunities for people. And, that could be anything from voluntary work through to going to have a look around an office. If you've not been around all these places, I never imagined what it would be like inside Pets at Home, Wincanton, Greencourt, all these different places that you see around the outside of town. And you get in there and you actually find out, okay, it looks quite daunting from the outside, but when you get in, actually, you're working in quite a small area. It might be shadowing someone. What does a publisher do for a day? What does a copywriter do for a day? So it's very much from that point of contact of getting in touch with us, finding out, how and when you want to meet. For some people, the first phone call, it might then be 6 months before we meet them again.
Yeah.
But there's no pressure from our point of view. We're not affiliated to anyone in the sense of the Department for Work and Pensions or anything like that, where you almost have to tick Form A to be able to do Activity B to do. We're purposefully independent as a social enterprise. It means we don't have those pressures, and actually, I think that's been another reason for the success. And it's then looking, we've got our kind of partners as our friends of track and seeing what opportunities they might have. We work with ACS Recruitment Solutions to see what opportunities they have. They'll introduce us to businesses, and what we're finding is the more we have the conversations, the more employers will go, actually, we've already got three autistic employees at the moment, just 3 employees. We want to know how to best support them. I'm like, well, have you ever asked them? Because that's all I will do. I will go and ask them what works well, how can it be improved for you, and just take the answers as honest answers. But they're not. And this is the bit that I think people sometimes struggle with, because it's like, well, you can't just go and ask. And it's like, well, I can. That's sort of my role, is to find out what do people feel comfortable doing, what do they not, because I think some of the other approaches are, you go in, it's like, right, you've got to go in for 10 job interviews. Why? It's not going to work. You need to find out what interest these individuals have. And if for me, if someone's got a graphic design degree or a computer science degree, let's make the most of that. It's not just a case of a job. And, for some people, again, it might be that they go for a role which they're probably overqualified for, but that's if they want to. They might just, at the minute, priorities might just be paying the bills. So I'm not really worried about having a career-related job. I just need a job, in which case it opens up different opportunities. But I think that's where, so it's just, someone's flashed up now. It's almost like I've talked to them and they've emailed me, have you got any opportunities here? But it is that, getting involved, contacting us. If we're not the right place, we'll work with other organisations to try and find opportunities. And and support that way. So it's such a personal solution in a sense, but I think that's what makes it the most rewarding, because when you get someone into a job, it is a kind of, you've had a real positive impact on that person's life, and you can go to the business and say, you've got yourself a fantastic employee there who's going to do great things for you. So yeah, it's very much a case of getting involved and contacting us really, and then we see where it goes from there.
I think, just to say, as I said, I came across this 2 weeks ago and I'm so impressed, and you should be, and the team, incredibly proud of what you're doing. So we've got 30 plus people into, gainful employment. As you said, you've made, not just to them, but others as well that you've supported at the beginning of their path, huge difference in their life. Huge difference. So I applaud it. I think it's phenomenal. I'm going to make sure in our show notes we've got links to your company, to your contact information, to the cafe in the Market Square in central Northampton. So people listening to this, whether you're an employer or you just want to go for a bit of coffee and cake post-COVID, can literally get in contact with these guys. And also, if you're an individual or you've got a family member who you think may benefit from this service, i.e. support getting into gainful employment, then you guys need to be reaching out to Track. What you also need to be doing is checking out the Friends of Track section on the website, which again, I'll leave notes and the links in the show notes. So this is where businesses similar to All Things Business, for example, because I'm looking at it now, Northampton Football Town, University of Northampton, and many others are basically supporting you. And what are they doing? That they're just publicising, promoting what you're doing? What's their sort of role?
So we're proud to be a social enterprise, and we didn't set out as a charity to start with, because we spoke to autistic people and they said, look, we won't work with you if you're a charity, because we don't view ourselves as a charitable case. So we've stuck with that, but that obviously presents business challenges, because charity donations and things that people can claim on. Now, the Friends of Track was designed to be partnerships with businesses. There's a financial element to it, but actually what we're most proud of is the fact that it's not a check and a picture and a tag on Facebook. It's, right, how are we working together to help people? And that can then be support services. It can be promoting each other. It can be providing, we've taken people to Ben's workplace before to see what it was like to do some graphic design work. And it's very much that sort of partnership approach of actually, ACS recruitment. They've got access to employers that we'll then have conversations to. We host their one of their recruitment consultants once a week, so people can come in the cafe rather than having to go in the shop to do that. And it's looking at, right, how do we work together to add value to each other? And I'm not going to lie, times are incredibly hard financially, and we recognise that people are going to kind of struggle with some elements of that for businesses who perhaps have also been struggling during these times. But we're really lucky that we've found a lot of businesses in and around Northamptonshire that have supported us financially. And again, the cafe's not really sold anything since March, so it's coming up with different solutions. We're now selling virtual coffee, and we've got a big auction going on throughout October. But it's Friends of Track is very much a partnership approach to how can we work together, and it's not just please keep giving us money and we'll take it and run away and you'll never see us again. It's, right, what can we actually do for you then to help you? And those partners that we've got there have gone above and beyond throughout the last couple of years to help us.
Brilliant. Thomas, I've loved it. Great. I'm so pleased we got you on the podcast. Thank you for being a good sport and coming on. I know it was very last minute, my request, and you coming on, and then you went and got your kid from school and you're drenched in rain, as you were saying.
Absolutely soaked, yeah. If I ask someone how I'm looking now, I know how bad I look. So thanks for inviting us on.
Look all good. Right, I'm going to close off the interview. We've got two last questions. So the first question is, it's 2021. We've all had our vaccinations, or whoever's been allowed vaccinations, and life has got back to normal, or the new normal, or whatever the hell they're going to be calling it. What are you personally looking forward to doing the most that you might not be able to do at the moment?
I think for me, it's that socialising with friends. I'm quite a social person. I love my football. I love going to watch that. But it's the social side of it, and it's the time with friends and family that, at the minute we stick by the rule of 6 and we follow the instructions. But just a humongous party with the football in the afternoon, a music festival in the evening, beers and a barbecue after. It just lots and lots of people in a space, all safe. It sounds so straightforward this time last year, didn't it? People have been questioning, but socialising, football, music.
That sounds good. Who's your football team? Northampton?
Yeah, it's got to be the Cobblers. Yeah, I'm fortunate to volunteer there on a match day. So if you ever come into hospitality at the Cobblers, I'm your entertainment for the day.
Well, I'm a Liverpool fan, and this is being recorded on Monday the 5th after our 7-2 loss to Villa. So I've had a number of WhatsApp messages and texts off a variety of people ridiculing me for that. So up the Cobblers, that's all I'm going to say. So,
absolutely.
Right, last question, and this question has taken me years and years of development. I'm a financial expert. I've travelled the world. I've spoken to gurus and up the mountains in Nepal. I've spent years developing this question. It's like a Parkinson type question, right? I'm going to do a drum roll. Thomas Cliffe from Track. What is the king of crisps?
King of crisps. I've spent many of an hours debating this before. The king of crisps, and the problem is it'll get into a baked crisps, biscuits. I'm probably overthinking this. For me, flaming hot Monster Munch.
Really, flaming hot Monster Munch, fantastic. Yeah, I'm a beef Monster Munch man myself, and I know that the missus is a pickled onion fan. So
we've got the whole Monster Munch family covered there.
Yeah, flaming hot's a fantastic answer. Thomas, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been phenomenal. I'm going to make sure there's lots and lots of links in the show notes. So for everybody listening to this, you need to get in contact with Track, whether it's to support them or even just to consider having a look at what you're doing in your own workplace to not only attract but also retain the best possible people that you can. Thomas, I also look forward to seeing you at the Northampton Business Awards. Hopefully, it's supposed to be November, I think, but next month. But we will see. Presumably, it's going to get kicked back into next year or otherwise. But we'll get an opportunity to meet there. And as I said before we even started recording, I definitely want to have a conversation with you regarding Longhurst and Track, because I think there's something that we should be doing with you guys as well. So thank you very much. I wish you well, and obviously good luck for the rest of COVID.
Cheers. Thank you very much indeed.
The Inside Silverstone podcast is produced by the team at Longhurst for the benefit of those with a passion for all things tech, engineering and innovation. For more information, please visit longhurst.co.uk/Inside Silverstone, whilst also remembering to give us a 5 out of 5 star rating on iTunes. Please note that neither Chris Broome or Longhurst work for Silverstone Park, Silverstone Circuit or Silverstone Technology Cluster.